Hey guys, with the system changes and all the changes previous, I'm predicting that LeBlanc is going to be going from one of the better mid laners, probably one of the best mid laners, to being by leaps and bounds the clear winner of this Worlds patch, if you're playing her properly. As you can see, I listed the runes above. What's going to be super important is you're taking this triple tonic and you're going 3 points in Q, taking that sudden impact and relentless hunter if you're taking ignite. Obviously, if you're taking ignite TP, you could probably get away with taking ultimate hunter, but I do like having Flash in lane. I think Flash is a really valuable summoner, so I don't like skipping out on it like Showmaker does. But I'm going to show you some really important things. First thing is, don't level an ability. If you're invading, having your E is invaluable. So E start is really, really valuable, and W start is also really, really valuable too. These are the two abilities that you start, E or W, and I'll talk about when you start them if nothing happens at level 1 and you're sitting in lane. So as you can see here, LeBlanc wants to get Prio and hit 2 first, right? And Rise just wants to be able to survive. And one of the options that he has to survive is to try to get Prio and trade back into the LeBlanc, right? So if I trade back into LeBlanc, then I'm going to be able to at least get XP when I'm trading. So Rise has two options. He can either play up and try to W me, or he can play behind his minions and just try to survive. Now, as you can see here, this Rise is playing up, but he makes a really, really vital mistake here, and he's playing inside of his minions, which means that if I'm to W on him right now, I'll be accelerating my push into him, thinning out the wave, and then when I eventually go back, like distortion back, I'm going to be able to pull the minions in and accelerate my push into him. Where previously, if he was playing maybe here or here, I would have to not be able to thin the wave because we are trading single target abilities at that point, and maybe I would consider starting E. So with that being said, this looks like a really simple play, but if your enemy makes this mistake at level 1, it's a super easy mistake to take advantage of, and there's a lot of thought that actually goes into this. So of course I W into him, proc sudden impact, proc electrocute, super good trade, we're in a great spot now, and he ends up getting solo killed at level 2, which is why I want to introduce to you the idea of not putting a point in your Q at level 2, right? You can put a point in your E. Now I sit back here, auto him because I know he doesn't have phase rush on, and then when he makes a decision, I'm running away. I shoot my E in a place that's really hard for him to dodge from. It's going to be really hard for him to dodge his E because he's going to expect me to shoot it down towards the location he's running. Just whatever. I won't explain why it's hard to dodge. But as you can see, I wait for the exact right moment to flash where this turret shot hits that, and then I'm able to kill him with the ignite. And the really huge system changes that he's dead for 2 more seconds now. I'm able to crash this wave and have it slow push back to me and recall before he's able to TP back, when previously he would be able to cancel my recall and pin me in lane. So this is a huge system change. Uh, Basically, he gets killed 2 more times. I mean, it's just unwinnable for him from this point on. But I want to show you the strength of having 3 points in your queue. So, if you look at this trading pattern, normally LeBlanc would have all of her damage loaded onto her W, which means if I'm not able to W directly on their face, I'm not going to be able to do the most damage possible. But with this ability, I've gained the ability to basically have this range on somebody as opposed to having this range on somebody, right? So it's much further range. And not only that, but these abilities do so much more damage. I could do this with W Max LeBlanc, but it would be doing 150 less damage, and every single time my sigil is up, which has a much lower cooldown than my W, I can be pelting him with them while he's trying to push into me on a slow push, right? And I could be Wing forward and then hitting him with a Q that applies sudden impact and 50 extra damage. I mean, look at that damage on that Q. It's a great way to play the lane. It's a great way to play the game. This is how LeBlanc is meant to be played, and she's not meant to be played in the silly way that people are going with this cut down garbage, as opposed to taking just triple tonic. Triple tonic is what you got to take, man. It changes it completely. With that being said, obviously, by the time that I get to level 9 right here, I'm going to be having my W maxed, and this is going to be where I talk about another thing. So one of the most basic combos that people usually do on LeBlanc is going to be going WRQE, which is okay. It's not great, and the reason why is, I'll show you. So what people really don't know is that when you have your RW and your W, with your W maxed, like a lot of points in your W is going to be dealing more damage than your Mimic Distortion. So this ability here is doing more damage than this ability here. And so when you W forward and then cast the Mimic, it's going to be doing less damage. So that's until level 11. After level 11, and you get another point in your R, it's going to be doing more damage than your W. But you also get another option. So when I W forward here and I want to jump onto this person, the only option that I have to do, uh, first of all, I've just used my main damage ability to get in range of them. So I've lost my main damaging ability. I have two options. I can either shoot all my abilities, double chain, whatever, like that, or I can do this combo that I mentioned before. So I'm locked out of using my main damaging ability on the enemy champion. So what you want to be doing is at level 9, pretty much starting at level 8 to level 11, or even in situations where you want to be guaranteeing your Q to land, instead of guaranteeing a W to land, like guaranteeing a full combo to land as opposed to guaranteeing just a W auto Q to land. You want to be using your RW first as a gap closer and then using these abilities second, right? So again, to have this banked, you will need to use your W and not cast another spell afterwards. So you'll need to sit on it, then wait for the W cooldown to come back up. And then obviously you're going to be RWing and doing that combo instead. Really, really basic combo, but it will completely change the way that you play, considering it explicitly deals more damage until level 11 from this point on, and it will likely deal more damage because the damage is a lot more accessible to get off in fights. For example, if I do this, I'm able to W around them as opposed to getting pinned to my location. If it makes sense, you're pinched when you do this, right? Like you can't you can't do anything. You can't cast your abilities freely because you need to cast the Mimic Distortion second. So really important combo for you guys to learn, and it's really vital for playing LeBlanc, especially in the early game.